These are the experiments for DSP lab, okay, for both 18 batch as well as 15 batch. So the experiments in part A we have 8, okay, and in part B we have 4 experiments, okay. So first we'll go for first experiment, that is sampling theorem. So in sampling theorem we try to demonstrate that so we can sample a signal either in Nyquist sampling or in oversampling or your undersampling. So what happens if we go for Nyquist sampling, what happens if we go for oversampling, and what happens if we go for undersampling. So as per the rules, we have to sample the signal at least 2 times of the maximum input signal frequency. If it is less than that, then what happens, the signal frequency whose value is less than 2 times of the maximum value, that will be overlapped, means there will be a distortion, okay. So in order to avoid the distortion, we have to sample the signal more than twice the maximum value of the input signal, okay. So here we are demonstrating that type of one experiment. So we have taken one signal called 2 pi 400t plus cos 200 700t. So 2 signals are there, okay. One is of 400 Hz, another one is 700 Hz. These 2 signals what we are taking, okay, these signals these 2 signals we are, one second, okay, we are sampling the signal, okay, with a frequency greater than 2 times of this frequency. Here the frequency is 700t is there, and here we have 400. So maximum frequency is 700. 2 times of 700 is 1400. We are going to sample the signal with the frequency 1400. Okay. So and we'll see what will be the output. So after sampling, we are taking FFT of the signal. So FFT of the signal will indicate what are the frequency component present in the sampled signal. See, we are sampling this signal with this frequency, and we are checking what are the frequency samples present in our signal by using FFT. So after displaying the thing, we can see that 2 frequencies, that is 700 and at 400 and 700 we are getting a pulse, okay. We have to see only half of the waveform. At 700 and 400 we are getting a pulse, okay. Then we are sampling with a frequency less than 2 times of maximum frequency. We are sampling at 1000 Hz. So because of this one, what happens, we'll get the signal. This signal will have a value at 300 and somewhere at another frequency, okay. So our signal is not present at 300, but it is showing here 300. At 300 we are getting one value. So it indicates because of aliasing the distortion has occurred. At the frequency where our signal is not present, that at that frequency also it is showing the response. It indicates we should not sample the signal less than sampling frequency, okay. Next we are going for upper or oversampling. In oversampling, we are sampling the signal greater than 2 times of the maximum frequency. Then we are getting that at 400 once again we will get the pulse, at 700 we will get the pulse. To indicate that, so from this what we can tell, at sampling rate, if I am going for sampling, okay, if we are sampling the signal at 2 times of the maximum frequency, then we are getting a faithful response, means we can recover the signal, okay. Otherwise we cannot recover the signal because of the distortion present, okay. We go for second experiment. In second experiment, it is an experiment to implement convolution of 2 given sequence and verifying its properties, okay. So first we have 2 types of convolution. One is linear convolution and second one is circular convolution. First we will go for linear convolution. The length of the linear convolution, if 2 signals are there, x1 and h1, x1 and hn, okay, these 2 after convolving we are getting a value. The resultant will be having a length equal to length of first sequence, length of second sequence minus 1. What is the length of first sequence? 4. Second sequence 3. 4 plus 3 minus 1. Totally 6 values will be present after doing linear convolution. In this manner we can go for linear convolution. There is a formula. Using the formula, after placing the values in the formula, we can get the value. We can get the value in another fashion, in simpler way. So the input they have given here is 1 1 2 3 1 and another input 1 1 1. So we can go for linear just convolve them, just multiply 1 2 3 1, leave one place, okay, 1 2 3 1, leave another 2 place, 1 2 3 1, add them, 3 plus 1 4, 3 plus 1 plus 2 5 6, okay, 3 5 6 3 and 1. So we get the answer 136,411. Same answer we can obtain after doing the doing our result and convolving. We are getting the answer, that is 136,441. Okay. So in formula method we can get the same answer, or we can use the shortcut method. So here we are just using a keyword called convolve. Two sequence we are taking, one sequence 2, then we are convolving those sequence, and whatever the value we are getting, that we are displaying in the screen. That's all. Okay. We'll go for next one, that is circular convolution. So this is the program for circular convolution. So let us take the same input. Let us take the same input what is present, that is 1 2 3 1, and another sequence is 1 1 1 1. First, in order to make it circular, we have to make the length of the sequence here. So what is the length of first one? 4. The length of second one? 3. So 4 minus 3, it is 1. 1 0 I have to add in order to make them equal. To which I have to add the 0? I have to add 0 to the second sequence, so that the length of these two will be equal to 4. Now the length of these two is 4. Okay. So now we have to use a tabular method or any other method in order to solve this one. Okay. Let us take this 1 1 1 0 as constant. Any value I can take here. Okay. Or any other can. So first value I have to keep as it is. Remaining these values I have to rotate. Rotate in the sense 1, then 3 and 2. Okay. Go for multiplying them and add them. So 1 1s are 1 plus 1 1s are 1 plus here 1 3s are 3 plus 0 into 2 we are having 0. So the value is 3 plus 1 4 4 plus 1 we are having a value 5. Okay. So next this remains as it is. We are not changing this x1 of n. So x2 of n or h of n we are shifting. The shift should be like this 1. So I am shifting this here 1 1 3. This last bit will come here. Okay. After multiplying, so 2 1s are 2 plus 1 1s are 1 plus 1 1s are 1 plus 0 into 3 is 0. So 2 plus 1 4, 3 3 plus 1 4. Okay. Like that every time I have to shift this 2 1 1 and this is 3. Okay. So 3 1s are 3 plus 2 1s are 2 plus 1 1s are 1 plus 0. Okay. So 2 3 4 5 6 and lastly this 3 will come here, 2 1 and 1 will come here. So after multiplying with this 1 1s are 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 0. Okay. So the value is 3 4 5 and 6. So the total answer is 5 4 6 6. So in order to do this one, we are using in our program. In this program we have a value. Okay. First we are checking the length of first sequence, second sequence. We are taking maximum of these two. Then we are changing here. Is the value of n1 is greater than n1 minus n2. We are subtracting the length of first sequence with second sequence. Actually here they have done mistake. It should be n2 minus n1. Here instead of this it is n2 minus n1. So here they are checking the value of second sequence minus first sequence. So if second sequence is greater than first sequence, then I am adding zeros to the first sequence. If the value of second sequence is greater than, if the value of second sequence length is lesser than first sequence, then n3 will be negative. Negative of negative is positive. That's why we are adding 0 to second sequence. Somehow we are making them equal. Afterwards we are using a formula. So we know the formula for summation, that is summation is there, then we have our x1 of, if I take here as n, so x1 of n into h of n minus m minus n modulo n. So this is your y of m. Y of m is equal to summation. Okay, so from where I have to start? I have to start from 0 to here, m up to m value I have to take. N is equal to 0 to m. Okay, so because in circular convolution we will take up to equal to n. N is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Up to here I have to take. Okay, but because in MATLAB I cannot start from 0, I am adding plus 1 at both the ends. So the summation will start from n is equal to 1 to n. Okay, 1 to n, x1 of n into h of m minus n. Here also I have to add 1 in order to nullify the 0, modulo n. This modulo n can be achieved by seeing that if the value, whatever I am calling this as by the name as I, is the value of I is less than or equal to 0. If it is less than or equal to 0, then what I am doing? I am adding n to this in order to make it positive, means circularly rotated. Okay, so if while taking, if the index goes in negative direction, I have to come in positive. Okay, if I take while subtracting, if I get minus 1, so minus 1 plus 4 is, it will take it as 3. So in order to rotate it, we are using this turn. Okay, so while rotating in, if I go behind my boundary, then what happens? I will come to the initial position. Here they have given. See, while rotating, what happens? After third point, I will come back to the first point, right? So for that reason we are adding n in order to make it positive. Okay, so the equation reduces to x of n into h of I. Okay, so this one we are using in our program. So x1 of n into h of I, y of m is equal to y of this summation is given by y of m is equal to y of m plus, every time n changes, the value will be added to your m. Okay, and for loop of m changes from 1 to n, and second for loop for this, first for loop for m, second for loop for n. Okay, which varies from 1 to n. Here also it varies from 1 to n. Every time we are calculating I, and we are checking is the value of I is less than or equal to 0. If it is, then we are adding n plus I to this. This is not 1, it is n plus I. Okay, then we are substituting here. But problem in the given example, it is x1 and x2, but here they have mentioned it as h, so take it as x2. Okay, here whatever the name you have given, same name I have to give here. Okay, we'll go for next experiment. So autocorrelation and cross correlation. So autocorrelation and cross correlation is generally used in order to see the two sequences are same or not. Okay, just I will show you how to calculate theoretically the autocorrelation and cross correlation. Let us take one sequence. Autocorrelation means only one signal will be there. Cross correlation means two signals are there. Let us take one signal, 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is one signal. So what I have to do is I have to take the convolution of these two, 1, 2, 3. So first 1, 2, 3, 4 I have to use as it is. Then this I have to repeat it, means reverse it. So after reversing, what I will get? 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Then go for multiplication from here. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. because of 1, then leave one space, 2 4 6 8, leave one space, okay, do 2 space, multiply with 3, 3 6 9 12, and leave 3 space, 4 4 8 12 16, okay, add them, we'll get the value of thing, okay. So we'll get 12 plus 6 18, 18 and 20, okay, 16 plus 9 plus 4 plus 4, this is, so we'll get this value, okay, 30, then add them, we have 20, okay, so 11 and 4, so we got this value, okay. So this is your auto correlation. Next we'll go for cross correlation. So in cross correlation, okay, for programming purpose, very simple instruction, enter the input sequence, then take that sequence in a function, you will get some result, display the result, that's all, okay. And you have to mention the properties. The first property is the middle signal what I am getting, that we call by the name as xx of 0. This is the highest value what I am getting, that is here the given value, here in the given value this value is 30. So 30 can be obtained by taking the square of the input, 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus 4 square. If I add them, 1 plus 4 plus 9 plus 16, so we will get a value 30. So the middle sequence will give the energy of the given signal, okay. The middle sequence will give the energy of the given signal. Like that, so many other properties are there, symmetric property is there, okay. So many other properties are there. This property should be mentioned while writing the program, okay. So next we will go for cross correlation. So in cross correlation, we'll go for cross correlation. Here in cross correlation, we are taking two sequences. Instead of one, we are taking two sequences. The sequence is, one is let us take yx 1 2 3 1. This is one sequence. Another sequence I can take, let us take 1 1 1. Okay, any one sequence so let us take this 1 3 2. This is the sequence present, okay. 1 2 3 or any other sequence, okay. One sequence I have to keep as it is, another sequence I have to rotate, that is 3 2 1. This sequence I have repeated, rotated, and then we have to go for convolution. So this type of convolution we call by the name as cross correlation between two signals, okay. So this will give us how much they are related to each other. So in cross correlation, the answer what I am getting is, so see two different sequences are there, I am doing cross correlation, I am getting the result here, okay. So here we have some properties. One property is, so here two inputs I have given, in the given example I have given two inputs, so that is 1 1 1 1 and 1 2 3 4. I got this sequence. If I give reverse direction, there is 1 2 3 4 here and 1 1 1 here, then result what I am getting is reverse of this one. In convolution this will not happen, but in correlation, if I give the inputs in reverse direction, I will get the output in reverse direction, okay. So we'll go for next problem or program, that is difference equation. In order to solve this difference equation, they have given one equation here, okay. So y of k is equal to here they have given equation, okay. Let us take this equation. I'll write this equation here. Y of n 1 plus 2 1 minute is equal to y of n plus 1 plus y of n is equal to 2 into x of n. This is my sequence, okay. Now you can observe, this is the one equation what they have given. In this equation, because maximum value I can have is n, here we have n plus 2, let us take this as m. So we will have a value y of m plus, not plus, minus 1.5 into y of m minus 1. because n plus 2 is m means y of n plus 1 will become m minus 1 plus y of m minus 2. This equals 2 times of x of, here n is there, we will take it as m minus 2. Okay, so in order to make it easy, let us once again replace m by n. So wherever m is there, I will replace it by n. So in order to make it easy, that's all. You can take m also. Y of n minus 1 plus y of n minus 2 equal to 2 into x of n minus 2. Okay. Now I want only y of n. Send other terms that side. So y of n is equal to, I will take 2 into x of n minus 2 plus 1.5 into y of n minus 1 plus minus y of n minus 2. Okay. So now these values, just this is an equation. This equation I have to write in the program. So I have written the same thing in the program. Y instead of n, we have taken y of k, 1.5 into y of k minus 1 minus y of k minus 2 plus 2 into x of k minus 2. Same thing, whatever present here. Okay, this expression we have written there. So here the value of n, here we have some values, what we call as initial values or previous values we will tell. So these initial values, if I want, so these initial values can be calculated as, if I take n is equal to 0, then what happens? Y of 0 is equal to 2 into x of n minus 2. So n is 0, 0 minus 2, then 1.5 into y of 0 minus 1 plus y of, or minus y of 0 minus 2. Okay. So we required x of minus 2, we required y of minus 1, and we required minus 2. So in question they have given this has 1 and this has 2 and this has 0. If they don't give, we will take it as 0. Okay. So then it is shaking. Okay. So I think you understood this. Now we will take the values. Okay. So but here problem is y of minus 2 is there. So but y of minus 2 I cannot take in MATLAB. So let us add 3 to this. So what happens? It becomes y of 1. So y of 1 I will take it equal to, the value of y of 1 was 1. So I will take y of 1 as 1. Then I will add 3 to this also. Not to value, to index I am adding. Okay, I am adding 3 to the index. So minus 2. Y of 1 is equal to 1. So value. Next I have added 3 to this. So the value will become y of 2. And the value of this one is 2. This value, initial value. Here x of 2, that is, it will become x of 1. And the value added to this one is 0. Okay. So these are the values, and these values I have given in the program. This y of 1 is equal to y past here they have given 1 comma 2, and so y of 1 is equal to 1 and y of 2 is equal to 2. Okay. And then here everywhere I have added 3, so I am adding 3 to this also. Okay. So 0 is there, I am adding 3 to this, so we will have a value here y of 3, means I am starting the value from y of 3. Okay. So for that reason in program also we are starting from 3, and the length of this one is length of x plus 2 is there. So x plus 2 means length of x minus 1 was there, plus 3 if I add it will become plus 2. Calculate the value and display it. So another thing here, x of n I have taken. X of n they have mentioned as unit sample, that is u of n. So u of n, you know, the values will be like 1 1 1 1 etc. So but I have to take initial values also, so I have taken 0 comma 0. Then this is the sequence. This can be written as 0 comma 0. Once how much I want, for example 10, if I want, I can take the value 10. Okay, this is my x of n. So how many x of n is there? So many y of n values we are getting. Okay, so this is our one experiment. We'll go for next experiment. that is to calculate the DFT of a given sequence. So this is the formula for calculating the DFT, okay, endpoint DFT. So I think you know how to calculate. Let us substitute the value here. They have mentioned how to calculate the DFT of a given sequence, okay. So this is the answer what I am getting. Here we are using a simple keyword FFT. So x1 is my input. How many point DFT I want? For example, n is equal to n. 5 means 5, 10 means 10. So if I want 4, okay, you can put here. You will get the answer, and this answer we can display by using display this magnitude, okay. So if I want to plot it, okay, just if I use stem n comma m, it will plot the magnitude of the graph. If I want angle, I have to go for angle of m, and it will display the angle of a graph, okay. So here let us take the same example and we calculate the value of x of k. So first x of n they have given, it is 1 comma 1 comma 0 comma 0. Through this one also we can calculate. So here we have n is equal to 4. There is a shortcut method for 4 values. So the value of omega is given by e to the power of minus j 2 pi k. So if I write here k and here n, if I write 2k by n, okay. So this is given by cos 2 pi k by n minus j sin 2 pi k by n. Substitute the value. Here n is equal to 4, substitute the value omega 8 to the power of not 8, omega 4 to the power of 0. Substitute the value here. So cos 0 minus j sin 0 will get a value 1. Similarly, substitute the value for 1, will get cos pi by 2 minus j sin pi by 2, we will get a value minus j, because this value is 0 and this value is 1. Okay, like this we will get a omega 4 to the power of 4, we will get minus 1, omega 4 to the power of 3, we will get a value j after substituting the value. So these values can be written in matrix method also, 1 1 1 1. Okay, this why this one? So I can write omega 0 length 2 3, okay, 0 2 and 3, here 1 2 3, 0 1 2 and 3, okay. So 0 into 0, omega 4 to the power of 0 into 1 means I have to take omega n to the power of m into n, where m indicate row and n indicate column. Okay, if we multiply, we are getting the values omega 0, omega to the power of 0, omega to the power of 0, omega to the power of 0. Okay, here we will get omega 1, omega to the power of 1 with the n, omega to the power of 2, omega to the power of 3. Here omega to the power of 2, then 0, then 2. Here we will get omega to the power of 3, then omega to the power of 2 and omega to the power of 1. Okay, so we will get the values like this. So how to calculate? So if we substitute the value here, we are getting minus j, then minus 1, then j. Here at the end, this j will come here, okay, then we'll have a value minus 1, and here we are having minus j. So I will tell you how we are getting this value. 1 minus 1 1 minus 1. See, leave one place, so 1 minus 1, leave another place, once again I will get 1. So 1 minus 1 1 minus 1, leave two places after this, 1, leave two places, we will get j. Okay, so j, leave two places here, we will get minus 1. Okay, after minus 1, leave two places, j and 1, we will get minus j. Okay, this is our value, and omega x of k, this equals this into x of n. X of n is 1 1 0 0. Now if I simplify, we will get the value of 1 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0, 1 minus j plus 0 plus 0. So 1 minus 1 plus 0 plus 0. Okay, 1 plus j plus 0 plus 0. After multiplying, you get a value 2, 1 minus j, 0 and 1 plus j. So if I take the magnitude of this, magnitude of x of k, if I take, I will get a value equal to 2 square root of 1 square plus 1 square, okay, 0 square root of 1 square plus 1 square. Okay, this 2 square root of 2, then 0 and square root of 2. This is the magnitude. If I want angle x of k, so we have to take tan inverse of b by a. Tan inverse of b by a. B in the sense, if a plus ib is there, this is b and this is a. Tan inverse of b by a if I take, so tan inverse of b by a in this sense, here 0 j is there, so 0 by this, tan inverse of 0 is 0. Okay, tan inverse of b by a, here 1 by 1, tan inverse of minus 1 by 1, tan inverse of minus 1 is minus pi by 4. Okay, so tan inverse of here b by a, 0 plus j, 0, 0 plus 0 is 0, so tan inverse of this is also 0. This value tan inverse of pi by 2, we will get a value pi by 4. So if we put the graph for this, the graph looks in this fashion. So 2, at 2 we are getting one pulse, see 2 we are having a pulse, okay, then at 1 we are having a value, then 0, then at 1. So 2, 1 by root 2, so not root 2, 1 root 2, then root 2, middle 0, 0 minus pi by 4, 0 plus pi by 4, pi by 4, pi value you know 3.14, depending upon that you will get the value here. Okay, so like this we can get the DSP. Next is, we have to verify the properties of DSP. The first property is Parseval's theorem. So if we multiply x of n with its complex conjugate, okay, then add them after multiplying each term, and then add those terms. X of n is a sequence, g of n is a sequence. Takes the complex conjugate of x of n, take the complex conjugate of g of n. That is, complex conjugate means a plus ib is there, means I have to take it as a minus ib. Take the complex conjugate of g of n and x of n, multiply them each point. Okay, so you will get the same answer if you take the DFT of x of n. X of n DFT is x of k, DFT of g of n is g of k, and take the complex conjugate of g of k and multiply each point in this, you will get back the same value. Okay, so that can be proved here. We are taking one sequence, circular property. First here they are proving the circular property. This is Parseval theorem. Linear property, if we take two sequence and if I apply DFT for this, then the answer remains same if I take the individual DFTs and add them. Okay, so DFT of a combination of a into x1 of n plus b into x2 of n is same as the combination of or a sum of a into x1 of k plus b into x2 of k, which this indicates linear property. And your circular shift property. So after shifting a sequence by m value, after taking the DFT of this sequence, so the DFT, after applying the DFT for this sequence, okay, we will get the value equal to omega n to the power of minus k into x of k, where x of k is the DFT of the sequence without shifting. Okay, let us see one by one. So we have taken circular shift property. I have taken a signal, then this is the length of the signal. Now we are taking LHS is equal to mod of n minus m comma n plus 1. Here we are shifting our value by two values. Okay, n minus 1 comma n. Here the value of n is length of this is 4. Okay, we are shifting the value of g. What is g? G is nothing but our sequence. See, this sequence I have taken. I am shifting that sequence with a value of 1. So m is equal to 1. I am shifting by 1. 1 in the sense what happens? You will get the value after shifting one value to 1, 3, 5. This is the value of gm I am getting. Okay. Now let us prove the theorem. In order to prove the theorem, what I am taking? I am taking omega. What is the omega value? Omega n to the power of minus k. So omega is given by e to the power of 2 pi k. Okay, omega 2 pi n, 2 pi by n into square root of minus 1. Square root of minus 1 is your j. Okay, e to the power of square root of minus 1 into 2 into pi, that is omega. So this x of t is equal to FFT of g. So we are taking FFT of g, that is x of k we have taken, and we are multiplying this with m of minus k. Here minus is there. Okay, for that reason we have taken e power as positive. Okay, if it is positive, I would have taken negative. Okay. After multiplying this, we are getting g, and we are taking IFFT of g. Okay, so after taking IFFT of g, that is RHS, we are displaying those values. See LHS value and RHS value of circular convolution. So result circular shift LHS 2 3 2 1 3 5. After shifting 2 1 3 5. So leave the zero term. We'll get back the same sequence. Okay. So one thing you can observe here, we have not placed semicolon. So if you don't place the semicolon, then it will display the result. Next is Parseval's theorem. So for Parseval's theorem, in order to take values, we have taken a random values. Here RAN, N indicate our values 0 to 1, or we will take binary values. Okay. So here it is taking some random values for X and random values for G. Some random values for X, because it will be difficult to give our values, or it will be a complicated thing. So we are taking a value x of n into g of n through program. Some value we have taken, random value. Okay, random value for x and random value for. We have taken DFT of x and DFT of g. So first we are calculating the first part of the sequence, sum of x of n into star g star of n. X of n is our input signal, dot star indicate we are multiplying conjugate of g. So we are taking conjugate of g and we are multiplying with our x. Next we are calculating RHS, that is given by sum into x dot star conjugate of g divided by n. Divided by n because here we have 1 by n. So we are dividing by n. And see, though both don't have the semicolon. So after executing, we may see that in our Parseval's theorem property, we got the answer same answer we got. Okay. Next here next theorem is linear property. Linear property, we are taking the two sequence, one is g of n and h of n, and we are taking FFT of g1 plus g2 of f of t, FFT of g1 plus g2, then that is LHF. Then we are taking RHF is equal to FFT of g1 plus FFT of g2. So we may see that the FFT of both the values remains same. So FFT of the summation with individually and the FFT of the combined values FFT, we will get back the same thing. Okay. So this is about your experiment 6. Next is DFT computation of a square pulse and sync pulse. So we are generating a square pulse. So how much frequency we required? 30 hertz. Okay, and duty cycle 50. We are generating a square pulse and we are applying FFT for this, and just we are displaying that value. Okay, we are generating a sync function. By using sync function, we are generating this indicate line space in line space to indicate. So line space starts from -5 to +5 in x-axis and 0.5 to 1 in y-axis. That is indicated here in line space. Okay, -5 to +5 with a value 600 count it is taking. Sync function TS. Okay, sync TS. TS is the value, input value. It is taking the value for t starting from -5 to 5 with a so many 600 values are between -5 to +5. Okay, it is similar to -5 colon +5 with a value 1 by, so this value 10 by 600. Okay, so this will give us -5 to +5 is 600. So 60 values I am getting through this. Okay, so many for every 1 by 60th value we are getting the so 600 values we are getting, and we are plotting these values. We are taking the signal, we are taking FFT of this and displaying. We are taking a signal, we are taking FFT of this and displaying. That's all. Okay. So next one is design and implement the FIR filter to meet the given specification. And so we are generating a low pass filter using Hamming window. Okay. And FIR. So you know that what is FIR? FIR indicate finite impulse response. Impulse response, that is h of n, which is finite. So we call by the name as finite impulse response. Okay, IIR means infinite impulse response. So generally our h of z, what I am getting, that is infinite. Okay, in order to convert this one into finite, we have to multiply. So h of z is there. If I take inverse h of z, h of n if I take, so then it is also an infinite sequence I am getting. So if I want to make it finite, I have to multiply it by a range from where to where I want. Up to that window I have to multiply. So here the window is Hamming window. Using this Hamming window, when I multiply this hd of n with our h of n is given by hd of n into omega n. hd of n is nothing but our inverse of your, so this whatever the requirement, that is for low pass filter, the requirement can be written in the form of h of z. In order to get, if I take inverse Laplace transform of h of z, I will get an infinite sequence of h of n. So by windowing technique, how much I want, that much I can get. Means how many n values, depending upon the n values what you have given. So we want to restrict our h of n within those values, 10 values, 20 values. How many values you want, how many value low pass filter you want, so many values low pass filter we can design by using this. Just we are multiplying our window with the hd of n to get our finite impulse response. So in order to do this one, so there is a formula for window. This is the formula for Hamming window. Okay, and if I take impulse response for if I take FFT for this one, this is the FFT of this Fourier transform, not FFT. Fourier transform of W of n, you will get like this. Okay, so we are not using all those things, we are using directly the keywords. So first we are calculating order of the filter by giving the how much pass band I required, how much stop band. Pass band means the frequency up to which our signal should be allowed. Means this is the somewhere, this is the frequency. If I take a low pass filter, okay, if I take a low pass filter, so this is my low pass filter. Okay, so what low pass filter indicate? It will allow the signal up to some frequency, and after that frequency it will not allow. In this x-axis indicate frequency. For 100 Hz means it indicate it will allow the signal to pass only up to 100 Hz. Afterwards it will take it as 0. Okay, but practically it is not possible. We have to take like this. So up to some frequency it is flat, and after some frequency it should near to 0. This frequency we call by the name as pass band frequency, omega s, and after some frequency where we have to stop, that we call by the name as stop band frequency, fp and fs. So in if I multiply with 2 pi, so then it is 2 pi fs and 2 pi fs. Okay, so we have calculated omega p, omega s, and we have taken the difference between them. So C will indicate just an nearest number. Okay, 6.6 actually here for Hamming window I have to take 2, or for Kaiser window I have to take 4 and other things. So we can take this also. For accuracy we have taken this 6.6 pi divided by 2. Instead of 2 pi I have taken 6.6 pi divided by omega s minus omega p, that is TW, that is order. When we give this order of the filter, it will calculate the value of omega n by using this formula. Okay, we can calculate omega n. Once we know the omega n value, so we can filter. There is a program for designing your h of z for the given value. Here FIR1 is an inbuilt function for FIR filter. So FIR1, order of the sequence I have given. Okay, omega p, that is pass band frequency, divided by pi. Okay, in order to normalize. Okay, and into omega n indicate our your windowing. Okay, after multiplying with this, it is not there. Okay, after multiplying this, we'll get some b value. B values are the coefficients of our h of z. So after giving these values, we'll get the coefficients of h of z. So these values are there. These b values, after going for FREQZ b, 126. So these values, it will display the waveform this for this value. So FIR1 will give the coefficients like this, h of n. If I take h of z, b0 plus b1 into z inverse plus b2 into z to the power of minus 2, etc. Like this they give the value. If I write h of n, it will be b0 plus b0 into x of n, okay, plus b1 into x of n minus 1 plus b2 into x of n minus 2, etc. This is for so these b values they have taken, and in these b values they have substituted the value of b z is equal to e to the power of j omega approximately. So they have substituted the value of omega, that is omega is equal to 0, 10, 100, like this they are substituting the value of omega in this expression, and they are writing a graph, and the graph looks like this. So up to where we required, up to that frequency it is like this, and afterwards it is 0. So up to the required frequency it is 1, or it is in dB we are taking. See, log of 1 is 0, log of minus 1 is log of minus 1 if I take, it is also 0. If I take log of 10, it is minus 1. Log of 0.1, log of 0.1 is minus 1. Log of 0.001 is your 2. Okay, log of 0.0001 is 3. Like that, we are getting the. If I take the response, we may see that up to the power of 10 to the power of minus 60 or 10 to the power of minus 6 approximately, with a value 10 to the power of minus 6, it is multiplying for the frequency greater than our required frequency, and it is multiplying with 1 with the frequencies whatever required. So it is allowing some frequencies, and it is not allowing the higher frequency, just it is allowing the lower frequencies. Okay, so this is about the next program is your implementation of IAR filter to meet the specifications. So here also we are taking the pass band frequency, we are taking stop band frequency, pass band attenuation and stop band attenuation. Pass band attenuation means if I take this is graph, here there will be like this some attenuations present, not this one, attenuation in the sense exactly it is not 1, okay, somewhere it is going down, so the value is 0.9 something, okay, 0.9 to 1. This attenuation we call by the name as pass band attenuation. In stop band the attenuation is very more, that is in terms of 20, okay, so that is 0.001. 001 means it is minus 2, okay, 0001 if I, it will be like this. Okay, so this is our IR filter. Yeah. So we require pass band frequency and we require stop band frequency, pass band attenuation, stop band attenuation, sampling frequency. By taking all those things, we can calculate your radians, pass band frequency in radians, that is 2 pi into pass band frequency divided by Fs, 2 pi into stop band frequency divided by Fs. Pi they are multiplying inside the value, so 2 pi automatically it will be multiplied, so they are taking omega p as 2 fpb by fs, 2 fsb by fs. Fpb it indicate pass band frequency, okay, fsb it indicate pass band stop edge frequency. So now when we give these frequency values with pass band attenuation, stop band attenuation, it will calculate two things. One is n, order of the filter, and another one is critical frequency. Okay, by using these two we can calculate the filter, that is h of z we can calculate. By using this we can calculate h of z. In h of z we, for IAR filter we are having the coefficient like if b0 plus b1 into z inverse plus b2 into z to the power of minus 2, a0 plus b1 into z to the power of minus 2 plus b2 into z to the power of minus 3, etc. Here a1, okay, a0 is 1, a1 plus a2 into z to the power of 1, means we have two coefficients, one is a coefficients and b coefficients. So these a and b coefficients we can find here, and these coefficients when you give to FREQZ the function, so it will calculate the for different value of omega, it will plot the your h and omega. H indicate your magnitude graph, OM indicate the frequency. So this can be separately plot, and if I remove this, just if I give FREQZ, automatically it will plot the graph. Otherwise we have to plot it manually. Okay, same type instead of your Butterworth, if we use Chebyshev, so the program I have given in this one record, it is there. Okay, instead of Butard, you take it as Chubbard, and instead of this butter you take it as chubby. Okay, only keywords differ, everything remains same. Next we will go for part B. In part B I will so this thing you may see practically how to start your Code Composer Studio. Okay, I'll go just for problems. So first experiment is linear convolution. This is a linear convolution program. Here you may see that there is a formula for linear convolution. Y of I is equal to summation. Here x value, your j value starts from 0 to up to I. Okay, x of I into h of x of j into h to the power of I minus j. So same thing we have written. Okay. Here summation is there, no? Summation I can write it as y of I plus, like this I can write x of I and h of I minus j, and for this summation symbol I can put one for loop. So they have put one for loop. Okay, value of I starts from I0 less than m plus n minus 1. M indicate length of first sequence, n indicate length of second sequence, and minus 1. Only 4 values are there. This is just for our understanding we have taken. Okay. Then we are summing y of I is equal to, see one thing, j is equal to 0, j is equal to 0 up to j less than or equal to I, j less than or equal to I, j plus plus. Okay. So this if you want you can write, or you can skip this. Okay, just you can write int here only while taking you can take int y of 10 semicolon. Okay, so this is a vector way in which we can declare an array. So the possibility of making error may be more in this, so directly you put some. Similarly, your circular convolution, I think you know how to calculate for linear convolution. Same thing for circular convolution. So here just we are taking the value. Here also instead of these two, you take here as after comma y of some 30 with semicolon. So it will avoid these two sequence. Here I am taking the first sequence. I am taking length of first sequence, length of second sequence. First sequence values, then second sequence value. Means in here I am giving these values directly in the program. Okay, in the first experiment. In second experiment we are giving those values through one by one. We are giving the values. After taking the value, I am checking is the length of first sequence is greater or not. If the length of first sequence is greater, then second I am adding 0 to first sequence. Otherwise I am adding zeros to the second sequence. So like that we are making the length of the sequence same. Then we are using first value is 0. Okay, first y of 0 is equal to 0 we have taken, means I required this y of 0 for summation. E of 0 is equal to h of 0, means in circular convolution we have seen that while explaining circular convolution somewhere I have written. Okay, so first value we have kept as it is. So for that reason E of 0 is equal to h of 0. From the second values in the second expression, E of j is equal to h of n minus j, means if 1, 2, 3, 4 is there, so I am keeping the first value as it is, and this I am rotating, that is 4, 3, 2. So if this is h of 2 and this is h of 3 and this is h of 4, I am reversing it as h of 4, h of 3 and h of 2. Hope you can see this. Okay, so this thing we are done here. E of j is equal to h of n minus j. So through a for loop we are doing that work. J is equal to n, j less than n, j plus plus. From 1 I am starting, not from 0. See, from 1 I am starting because the first value I have kept, and from the second value we are doing the folding operation. We have done folding, then a simple multiplication, x of I into a of I is equal to y of 0. Y of 0 is equal to x of I into a of I. We are multiplying and adding. So that will give us y of 0, first sequence. Okay, so a sequence, first sequence, or for example 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1 is there, and these values I am adding with this 1, 1 za, 1, 4 za, 2, 3 za, and 1, 1, 2 za. And after adding and multiplying, we will get the first value, that is y of 0. In order to get the second value, what we have to do? This should be kept as it is. So first value 1 4 3 2 and 4. So this one should be kept as it this should be shifted 1 4 3 and then 2. Like this I have to shift from here up to how many values I want, means for example 3, up to 3 places I have to do the same operation. So we have taken a for loop from 1 to up to how many times we required, that is k less than n 3 times, less than 4 means it will take 3, like the y of k is equal to 0, for j is equal to 1, j less than n, j plus plus, just they are multiplying. See, x2 of j is equal to a of j minus 1, and then means we are shifting one position. So j is in the jth position we are taking j minus 1th term. Okay, in jth position we are taking j minus 1 term. At the end we are taking the 0 term as the last one, what present in the last point, that will be taken into first place. See, first we have shifting these values. Okay, the last one we are taking in starting. So same thing we are doing. First we are shifting using for loop, then see after for loop if there is no bracket, then it will take one statement only. So it will execute this statement so many times, then this statement will be executed only one time, and after this just multiply add. So 1 into 1, 1 into 2, like this, 1 into 2 plus 1 into 4, 2 into 4 and 1 into 3, just multiply and add to get second value. Okay, after this will become our new value. Now this 2 should be taken here, 4 here, and lastly 3. So for that reason I want this value should be acting as our previous value. So I am storing this value here. A of I is equal to x2 of I, means our x2 of I is acting as now A of I. Okay, after multiplying you are getting the answer. And so next sequence is n point DFT. For n point DFT in this, so we know that formula for x of k is equal to sum n is equal to 0 to n minus 1. Okay, x of n into omega n to the power of r, directly e to the power of minus j 2 pi k by n into small n. Okay, this is the formula. So this can be written, I will write summation as it is, n minus 1 as it is, x of n also as it is. This can be written as cos of 2 pi k n divided by n minus j sin 2 pi k n divided by n. Okay, so this can be written as x of n, I will just x of n is equal to 0 to n minus 1, x of n into cos of 2 pi kn divided by n, okay, minus j sin summation, sorry, I will write here, minus j summation n is equal to 0 to n minus 1, same x of n into sin 2 pi kn divided by n. Two sequences are, this is now our x of k. So this term, this part we call by the name as real, and this part we call by the name as imaginary. So in program we are calculating this separate and this separate, and we are adding them, we are representing them in the fashion that can be read, that can be understood. Okay, so we have taken cos 2 pi ft 2 pi k. Okay, here they have taken I in the place of n, small n, and capital N in the place of n only, 2 pi k small n divided by capital N. Cos they have calculated, sin they have calculated, sum of RE is equal to sum of RE, that is x of I into CS. So this is multiplied, this will give us a real term and this will give us imaginary term, and these two values we are keeping in an array. We are keeping in an array and we are displaying those values. So we are displaying the real part and imaginary part. So we are displaying the real part and imaginary part in this. If you want, we can place here percentage of plus j percentage of. So neatly it will display the value as. So here this indicate 2 plus j0. This indicate 1 minus j1. Okay. but here j term is not there. If you write j here, so j term will also appear in the sequence. Okay, this is about your DFT. Next is impulse response. Impulse response, here they have given a formula. Here you replace A by B and B by A. So here while giving, they have given in reverse direction, it is A by B, and so this is B and this is A. Here also we have, this is your A and this is my B. Okay, so we'll go for a expression. Okay, so we know that here two values are there. Order 1 means two values, B0 plus B1 into Z inverse divided by A0. A0 is always 1. Okay, A0 1, or let us take here A0 is 1 plus A1 into Z inverse. So h of z is given like this. So h of n can, this if I multiply, it looks like h of z plus a1 into h of z to z inverse is equal to b0 plus b1 into z inverse. Okay, so here if I take inverse z transform, it looks like this. H of n is equal to, if I send those terms that side, okay, and this is for this experiment, first order differential equation. Okay, so it is not first order differential equation, or if we go for your impulse response, okay, h of z can be calculated by this formula. Okay, the formula is, you know that h of z is equal to, one second, the value of h of z. H of z is given by, here it is, b0 plus b1 into z inverse j1 plus n into z inverse. This is the expression what we are having. Okay, so if I, h of z can be written as y of z by x of z. Now we are taking inverse, we just multiplied this with this, we got this expression. Okay, so y of z plus y1 into yz plus into z inverse, b0 into x of z plus b1 into z inverse into x of z. So y of z can be written as y of n after inverse z transform, and if I send this term this side, okay, b into x of z, b1 into x of n minus 1 minus a into y of n minus 2. This is the differential equation we got. Now from these differential equations we have to calculate the impulse response. So in order to calculate impulse response, we have to take x of n is equal to delta n. We know that x of 0 is equal to 1 for x of n is equal to delta n. X of minus 1 is 0, minus 2, minus 3, and x of 1 is 0, x of 2 is 0, and x of 3 is 0. Y. So now because our y of n is nothing but h of n, if I take x of n is equal to delta n. If I take x of n is equal to delta n, y of n is nothing but h of n. So I am taking this as h of n, and this value as it is b0 into x of n, b1 into x of n minus 1, and minus a1 into y of n minus, this can be written as a1 into x of n minus 1. Okay, so now we substitute the value for n. If I substitute the value of n is equal to 0, we get b0. If I substitute the value of n is equal to 1, it will be like this, and we'll get a value b1 into a1 into h of 0. So this once again y of n minus 1 in the equation can be written as h of n minus 1. So we get h of n minus 1 term here. Okay, so previously we get h of minus 1 which is not present, so we'll take it as 0. H of 0 is present, which we have calculated in previous value, so put the value, we get b1 minus a1 into h of 0. Okay, like this we can simplify. So one thing you can observe that here the order of the given expression is 1. Why the order of the expression is 1? Because we have only one z value. Okay, so we can tell the we can, in the equation we can tell the order is 1 because we have minus 1 only. If minus 2 is there, then it indicates order 2. Okay, now because of that I can write in general as h of n is equal to b of n minus sum if the value is less than or equal to order, if the value of n, okay, here the value of n is less than or equal to 1, then this is the case. If the value of n is greater than order, then only sum will happen. Okay, so here for less than order we got the value b minus sum, and for the one greater than order we just got a value minus a1 into h of 1. So this is the case. H of n is equal to b of n minus sum, and h of n is greater than order, it is given to h of n is equal to minus sum. And in general, this is a good one, a expression for impulse response to calculated by using a differential equation. That is, h of n is equal to b of n minus summation j is equal to 0 to order a of j into h of n minus j. Okay, so I will go for the expression. So here this is the expression. They have given a and b values. So in this question by miss they have given a and b. So in the place of a you take b, in the place of b you take a. Okay, so here the same thing, sum. See, in the sum what I have written, sum is a of k into h of n minus k. Here they have written b of k. Okay, here you replace your this by a of k into h of j minus k. Okay, so and here in the place of this a you replace it by b of k into star j minus k. After multiplying we get this value. Okay. So calculate the theoretical value and practical value depending upon the value you have given in the expression. Depending upon the value you have given in the expression, you will get the output. Okay, this is for two things. One, if the order is 1 and here the order of the sequence is 2. What is the length of h of n you want 5 means here we have given 5. So here also we have given 5. Okay, you can give any other values also. Thank you.